and welcome to Campus Conversations. This is really exciting because I'm back in my office. We are back on campus a little bit more than we were before. It's really exciting to be able to be back here and just be back home, really. You know, this is a second home to a lot of us who work here, and so it's really great. And being here for us, in our minds, it tells us that we're one step closer to being back with you. And that's what's really exciting about this. So as much as the fall might seem like a mystery right now, we're getting closer and closer to something that feels familiar. And that's really beautiful. So we have high hopes for that. So since we're back on campus here and I'm doing our first campus conversations from the campus ministry office, I thought it would be great to have a guest who is our neighbor office to the west here. Right behind this wall is the Office of Global Studies and Linda Lubranski, who is our first guest back on campus. So how are you doing, Linda?
Well, not to be confused with the Wicked Witch of the West.
Oh, yeah,
The
no,
good
no.
one, Glinda.
This is the good West, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. How are you doing?
Well, I'm so excited to be back on campus. There's so many things that I even forgot that I had missed. Even just you popping by and talking in the doorway.
Yeah, right. Little dialogue like that. I think it's always called like the water cooler conversations or the coffee machine conversations. Those things have definitely been something that I missed a lot. And we have a lot of great conversations on campus, which is why this is exciting to have you as a guest. And it's also exciting to have you guest on a serious note, because I think you're one of the offices that many people have been praying for and thinking about, because you are the global office. And we are in a global experience right now where so many people all across the world have been affected. And, you know, you kind of got your thumb right on that pulse there. So I'm really interested to hear from you about that. But first, how you doing? How you feeling? Everyone's healthy?
Everyone's healthy. Thank God.
Yeah, awesome.
Learn to not take that for granted these days.
Yeah,
So
for sure.
your health is your
Um,
wealth.
so I want to jump right into something here because I've known you for a bit. So I know a little bit about the incredible Linda stories, we call them, because you've been all over the world. You've experienced amazing things. But one thing is that you have some experience in China and some places in China that are close to home that have become headlines due to COVID-19 and things. And you have some firsthand experience that I think is really interesting. Could you share a little bit about that?
Sure. I taught in Wuhan, China, which nobody could place on the map before this. And I've been to some of those markets as well. I frequent them actually to get my groceries and my produce and everything. And also, I know a lot of people over there at the university level, people that I grew really close with, that I either ran with while I was training for the Great Wall Marathon, or I tutored their children, or so to see some of the scenes in Wuhan, I'm like, wow, this is a city that I called home. And it really touched my heart in a special way, because I knew a lot of the people personally that are impacted. So I knew the people separate from the government, so separate from government policies.
Wow.
And I would have people tell me, like, the US is amazing. Like, how did you go? Like, how did George Washington step down from power? And I didn't think that was incredible. But coming from a communist country, like, there were people that would tell me that, like other faculty leaders, like, the US is so amazing for that reason. Or my dad was an intellectual and had to go through a re-education camp. So when I hear the stories that are coming out of China, when I've heard the stories that are coming out of China, I have a perspective of Chinese government policies based on my undergraduate degree, but also based on hearing firsthand accounts of what, like, the re-education process has looked like, what human rights, or the lack thereof, sometimes looks like in the country. So
You are helping us understand the community aspect. I think when things hit the news, we so often feel so removed from storylines, and it then makes us sometimes not be as sensitive to the storylines and to the people that are involved. And so knowing you, Linda, and knowing your connection to various communities. And I've seen this before. We've been on a mission trip or two together, and I remember one of them we were in Camden, New Jersey, and then we were stopping over in Philadelphia to do some service. And you had lived in Philadelphia in one of the most dangerous areas, and you were telling the students stories about that. And it just broke down this wall for the students to then feel like they felt ownership over this place because you had lived there. So it just like it made, and that does something really powerful for us as people, but especially students who are learning, who may have never been off this island before. Are you aware of that?
Yeah, that's something that I didn't realize that it created this connection for students. But I always hope and pray that sometimes I, I can connect to a lot of different people on different levels, and then I think to myself, like, do they feel that connection? Do they even want to be connected at that level? So it's so nice to hear you say that it's a service and to the students. So
Yeah, I mean, I was selfishly, I was interested, and I thought it was really amazing in that one experience. And I remember it vividly enough to bring it up here, thinking, wow, this really just like, it broke down this barrier that I thought was there, which really shouldn't be. But we become so territorial with everything. That's just kind of how we are as people at times. And I thought that was really cool. And I've noticed that a trend with you. And I think that's why it's so great that you're in the office that you're in and you're doing the work that you're doing. Um, with regards to that, how has it been? You're the global office. A lot of what you do are these amazing trips and these amazing opportunities, but you're not limited to just that. How you been? How's it going?
So I've gone through like many of the stages kind of grieving that probably a lot of us have gone through. Great disappointment to see the faculty-led programs learning how to deal with it, uncertainty, wanting to tell students and faculty, like, this is the way, like, we're either going to have to cancel or we're going to keep going, wanting to give a certain answer, but not having that answer. And so not having control, like giving up, like surrendering that control. And I think that it's amazed me how the students have persevered and have such interest still in going abroad, and in planning within uncertainty. And that reminds me of the skill sets that you need when you go into any community, whether locally or globally. You have to be able to kind of deal with uncertainty, be adaptable, and humble, and to be able to say, I don't know when I don't know.
I feel like regardless of what the future looks like, we're all learning humility firsthand, and resilience.
Yeah, I was impressed, Christian, with what your office is doing also during this. I saw that you were reaching out to the community, and it was at times when sometimes I felt like sitting in a corner and sucking my thumb, like, I was like, what's gonna happen next? To be quite honest about it. And I feel like your office is always thinking of servant leadership, and that's how Christ views the world, that people need to know that they are loved, that we are here to serve them, and that God has not forgotten about them.
Yeah, thank you, Linda, for those nice words, and appreciate it. And I think we've all been in those moments where we've been, like you said, rocking in the corner of the room going, what is happening? What is happening? I like to think that I'm an optimist at heart, and that I try to be creative with opportunities. And so, as terrible as this situation has been, and has as much loss as is occurring, and heartbreak and all this, one thing that I'm finding is inspiring me through this experience, and I'm careful with saying that because it has been such a horrible experience for so many people, is how much this is forcing us all to be really creative and resourceful with our gifts and our talents. I think a lot of times our students and ourselves, we say this all the time, there's not enough money, there's not enough this, there's not enough that, we can't do this, we can't do that. And now this virus has kind of all knocked us over and said, well, you're going to have to do it with little. You're going to have to figure it out. You're going to have to make it work. And that was really how all these conversations started, and just thinking, let's check in with everybody and see what they're doing. How are they being creative? Because there seems to be a lot of our own people here at St. Joe's are being really smart and using their time wisely. And, you know, whether they're essential workers or whether they're picking up these incredible hobbies and gifts on the side that are making their life more fruitful or contributing, it's really amazing what the human spirit can do.
And to speak of like talents too, I noticed
What hobbies did you pick up? Come on. That's what I want to hear about.
So I was inspired by you, and I created like a couple of videos, and then I also did more solo hikes. But of course, that did not come with seamlessly. I ended up lost, and strangely enough, in the Catskills, there was a judge from Long Beach.
For our viewers here who are not aware, let me preface this, everyone. Linda has a wonderful, rich history of going hiking and being fearless. She will come in on a Monday and just say, you know, casual, hey, what'd you do this weekend? I say, I went to the park, walked the dog. And she says, yeah, I decided to just go drive 4 hours and hike a mountain for 6 and then drive home and catch the sunset. And it was really amazing. Like, why did you, I just did it. So that's where Linda's at. So when she says she went hiking, it's a story. You're going to want to hear it. So please, Linda, take us there.
So I was really optimistic that I was like, I'm going to finish this trail. There's no way I'm leaving without finishing this. What? I'm not going to come back. Like, that's it. And so I get up there, and as optimistic as I was, this really counted against me. And this is where, you know, time management and procrastination play into it. I was super optimistic. I was like, I can make it down. It took me 5 hours to get up. Well, it'll only take me 3 hours to get down because I need to get down by sunset. And while I was getting down and like, you know, going down 4,000 feet essentially, it was taking me a long time because it was very steep. And I was like, oh my gosh, I need to find a shortcut out of here. I felt like a little bit
that never goes well when people say I need to find a shortcut.
But I'm like looking at my map, and I'm like, oh, the road I came in, that seems to run perpendicular to this other place that I get out of. And so I get out into the parking lot. There's one car there. There's nobody else around. It's the middle of Catskills Park. So I start walking. I'm like, okay, but if I run along the road, I'm going to reach Mink Falls Road where I parked. I get there. It looks nothing like the road I came in on, which is the same name. Apparently, when I plug it in and my GPS works, I'm 45 minutes away from my car. Apparently that road continues exactly on the other side of the park, over some mountains and through the woods.
Gosh.
And I was 45 minutes driving away from it. There's no replacing a hard map. There's no replacement for maybe having a water straw, planning out some water sources, like a good Girl Scout. And I was a Girl Scout. The Girl Scouts would be very disappointed with this. And I also thought about risk, differently too, because we think about risk a lot with study abroad and making sure to keep our students safe. So I started thinking about it with myself too. Like I'm responsible for making sure I have a lot of backups and yeah.
I think you're also, all kidding aside, you're hard on yourself here. I think you've developed you have a very good track record of successful missions. So I don't want it to sound like Linda's, just jumping into the woods every day. It's become a wonderful thing. I think part of your life and your own witness, so to speak, is being fearless to the point where you're challenging yourself to do new things. And I'm always interested and inspired. It's exciting because it's great for our students to see that, you plan these trips and all, but you're also an adventure seeker as well, and you're invested in that. And it's really exciting and dynamic.
I like it because, it makes me realize sometimes the fears that I have. And it makes me think about students who come to my office. But when I start to think about, like, they're worried about all sorts of different things. And I feel that way when I go out into the woods because it's the unknown. Sure. And it's uncertainty again. And so I learn things sometimes while I go. And that's what I ensure them too, that that they'll learn it while they go. And if they have faith that God's going to be beside them through it all, like we can go through anything. We could be in a persecuted country and God will make himself clear to us, walk alongside us, lead us to still waters.
To wrap it up here, I want to just give one last thing. As you and I, we are preparing for the fall in our offices here, different things. And although we don't know what the fall looks like exactly right now, we're doing the best we can to create numerous options to give students as great of an experience as they can get, because we believe in that. What are some of the things that you're working on, and how can students hear about what your office is up to this fall amidst everything that's happening?
Sure. We're going to host events through our Instagram, SJCNY Global. We're going to feature students who have studied abroad, who have served in all different capacities. And we're going to do cooking. We're going to do contests. We also want to do a virtual fair for faculty-led programs, because we've rescheduled last year's programs for this upcoming year, contingent upon borders opening and everything being safe, of course. So we want to have a fair that showcases that, probably online. And then the Peace Corps has approached me as well. They're doing like a webinar, speaking of serving your neighbor near and far. So for students who might be thinking ahead and wanting to know what opportunities are out there to serve in the world. And of course, pending everything like moving forward, and we're optimistic that things will move forward. The world will reopen soon. And then to keep in touch through Instagram is the big thing. SJCNY Global. We also have a Facebook. We're going to be doing giveaways. We're going to be doing all sorts of different interactions.
I'm excited to possibly collaborate with you in the future, but also I love just witnessing what other offices are doing and learning. So I'm really excited. So thanks, Linda, for taking the time to chat. This was a really fun conversation. It's great to be back on campus with you, and hopefully we'll be seeing some students soon. All right.
Yes. Thank you so much, Christian, for having me.
No problem. All right. We'll see you next time on Campus Conversations.